After spending a few years purely in the digital world, I wanted to get my hands on something that was completely print-based. Short Stack is a series of small format booklets inspired by a single ingredient and written by a single author. We printed them on the best paper we could find. We are stitching them by hand using different colors of baker's twine. It's meant to be a collectible object, a highly usable object, and something that you'll cook from again and again. We're launching Short Stack with 3 volumes: eggs, strawberries, and tomatoes. All of the recipes in Short Stack have been tested by a well-known cookbook author or food writer or chef. Each of those folks chose their ingredient based on what they love to cook with most.
I can get very passionate about seasonal produce, and strawberries are one of my favorite moments of the year. It's also beautiful, the color of strawberries and the fragrance, everything about them kind of really inspires me to cook. From my background at Martha Stewart Living, we always did a lot of single subject stories, and I just always loved going in depth with one ingredient.
Anything around me inspires me, and it could be something really cool and esoteric like wasabi salt, or it could be something as perfect as a singular piece of ripe tomato. It makes a huge difference on how you can take that ingredient and know that you can adapt it to anything in the kitchen.
When I finally decided to raise my own chickens, I did it for the eggs and ended up with so many fresh eggs that I started eating them for every meal. You can use them in breakfast, lunch, dinner, and dessert. The really exciting thing about the Short Stack series is that it will give you ideas for every sort of technique and dish, and then you can take those ideas and you can run with them.
Hi, my name's Leanne Brown, and here's the deal. I'm asking for your support to fund a print run of Good and Cheap. It's a cookbook of delicious but inexpensive recipes for people who are living on food stamps, or as food stamps are known these days, SNAP. The PDF is already available free on my website, and it's been amazingly popular. In just a few weeks, over 90,000 people have downloaded it. But I also want to make sure that it gets out to people who don't have computers, or who wouldn't otherwise end up seeing it. So that's why I've designed this Kickstarter with a Get One, Give One system. That way, those who can afford a book can choose to subsidize those who can't. The expensive part of printing a book is the initial setup. The cost of each additional book is fairly low. The more copies you buy, the more copies I can donate or sell at a massive discount to organizations who support low-income families. And if this Kickstarter really takes off, I've pledged to add even more recipes every time we reach a stretch goal. I researched, wrote, photographed, and designed this cookbook as the capstone project for my master's in food studies at NYU. In my spare time, I also lead grocery store tours for low-income families. Pretty much everyone I meet wants to eat well and wants to feed their family well. The challenge is doing that on $4 a day. I created Good and Cheap as an approach to food, as a strategy to show what's possible. I want people to look at the recipes in my book and say, I can't wait to go home and make that. I wouldn't be doing this Kickstarter without all the kind and supportive feedback I've received, but please keep spreading the word. Tell your friends, tell your family, tell your colleagues, tell your grocery store clerks. Let's get Good and Cheap into the hands of as many people as possible, starting with you.
I'm Hank Shaw. I run the website Hunter Angler Gardener Cook. I'm a cookbook author and I work on wild foods. Everything that I do with Hunter Angler Gardener Cook and with the columns that I write in magazines and with the books that I put out is about reconnecting people with the wild world. Even though I've done 2 cookbooks before, this third one, Buck Buck Moose, I'm coming to you to do as a Kickstarter. If you think about it, the entire time that Homo sapiens has been on this earth, we have been hunters and gatherers up until something on the order of 11:50 at night. So if all our existence was one day, the last 10 minutes would be our situation now. There has never been a point at which it has been more important for us to get back to procuring our food the way that we have procured food for all but a second of our existence as a species. And my first book, Hunt, Gather, Cook, was kind of the primer. My second book was Duck, Duck, Goose, and that was a drill down into something that I'm very passionate about, which is waterfowl hunting. Even though there are 13 million deer hunters in the United States and over 1 million in Canada, the mainstream publishing market is not really that interested in doing a cookbook about venison, but you guys are. You'll go from nose to tail and around the world with this cookbook. I have done huge amounts of research looking at how every culture uses venison. And guess what? Every culture uses venison. The recipes that are deep and rich through so many of these cultures are going to be reflected in this book. And it's going to be full color, hardcover. This is a real deal cookbook. It's going to look very much like Duck, Duck, Goose. If this Kickstarter campaign succeeds, and I hope it does, we'll be ready to have the book out by late summer of 2016. What we do need to do is raise somewhere between $35,000 and $40,000 to make this happen. And almost all of that is print costs. Nobody's getting rich off of this. This is just our bare bones cost to make a book that you will be proud of and that we will be proud of. This is knowledge that is fading, and I think it's sad, and it shouldn't be. And I will do everything that I can to keep this knowledge alive.